Hello and welcome to Access Asia. I'm Delano D'Souza. Coming up, Kim Jong-un sending not-so-subtle messages to the West on the 80th anniversary of North Korea's ruling Workers' Party. This as Pyongyang cements its partnership with Moscow and Beijing. India's tilt towards Israel on display as Narendra Modi praises Benjamin Netanyahu's leadership when welcoming news of a ceasefire agreement in Gaza. And misinformation plagues a drive to protect girls against cervical cancer in Pakistan. We'll tell you what road bumps hit the HPV rollout campaign. North Korea's leader is vowing to turn his country into the best socialist paradise in the world. Kim Jong-un's fiery speech on the 80th anniversary of the ruling Workers' Party comes as he seeks to cement Pyongyang's partnership with Moscow and Beijing. North Korea's latest weaponry front and center during the events as Kim Jong-un intends to brandish his country's nuclear ambitions. We can now bring in Sung-hyun Lee, associate at Harvard University's Asia Center. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. What, in your opinion, is Kim Jong-un aiming to accomplish with this show of force?
Well, this international gathering in Pyongyang is a powerful declaration that North Korea's position in the world has fundamentally changed. Kim Jong-un is demonstrating that his country is no longer just the recipient of an aid from its Cold War patrons, but is now a capable, indispensable partner within a new axis of consolidation with China and Russia, as you mentioned, against the US and the West. We have to remember the China-North Korea relationship was recently damaged, but it wasn't destroyed. Now it is in full swing back to recovery. More importantly, North Korea has embodied the old dynamic by providing Russia with crucial munitions, missiles, and even soldiers for its war effort. Pyongyang has proven it can contribute significantly to a major powers military campaign.
I want to talk about that axis in just a minute, but in the past few years, relations between North Korea and South Korea have sunk to new lows. We've seen propaganda leaflets dropped from the South. We've seen the North sending trash balloons over to South Korea. But now Seoul has a new leader who wants a change of approach with how it deals with Pyongyang. Will Kim Jong-un accept this and take the bait?
Well, that's a very perceptible question. And unfortunately, the answer is absolutely. The hardline stance will not only continue, but will likely intensify. From Pyongyang's calculation, South Korea's engagement posture and olive branch is irrelevant, unfortunately, because Kim's primary audience has always been Washington. Kim's strategy is to use the credible threat he posed to Seoul as leverage to create anxiety and pressure the United States by showcasing such overwhelming force right before South Korea hosts the APEC summit. Kim is sending a clear message of intimidation. The timing is a deliberate effort to counter the APEC gathering and showcase the solidarity of socialist states like China and Russia. Senior officials are there descending upon Pyongyang. Kim is warning Seoul that the South Korean alliance with Washington is now directly opposed by a powerful and consolidated trilateral bloc, fundamentally altering the strategic landscape.
North Korea has, maybe 2 years ago, let's just say, been a pariah state or considered a pariah state, but we have seen its proximity towards Russia and China grow a lot in the span of 2 years, one can say. What can we expect from this axis, and what does Pyongyang want to get out of it? Is it, as you said, to teach a lesson to Washington?
We should expect a significant deepening of both material and ideological bonds among them. The old uneasy alliance mantra is now dangerously outdated. This is no longer a temporary marriage of convenience. With Russia, it's a robust military partnership. North Korea receives advanced technology that accelerates its weapons program. And in return, North Korea supplies Russia with war-fighting munitions and has even sent soldiers to fight in Ukraine. With China, Premier Li Chang's visit, the first by a Chinese premier in 16 years, signals a new phase of comprehensive cooperation, likely accompanied by a substantial economic package. North Korea's strategic value to both Beijing and Moscow at this time is only being upgraded. If this is a new Cold War, as some people argue, North Korea loves this war because North Korea thrives on global conflict and US-China tensions.
So, next question, is North Korea a nuclear state? Because Kim Jong-un has made no secret of his nuclear ambitions. And if so, will the world's relationship have to change with North Korea? Because how many pariah states are there that happen to be nuclear armed?
Well, you raised the central message of the entire event of gatherings by senior officials from China and Russia. Kim Jong-un will not just reassert it, Kim Jong-un will present it as a non-negotiable, technologically advanced, and now battle-tested reality. We live in a changed world. Kim Jong-un has transformed from a caricature people once joked about into one of the most dangerous figures on the global stage. His newfound credibility comes from the military strength his weapons have demonstrated on the battlefields of Ukraine. This gathering is his victory lap from my perspective. Beijing has already hastily accepted. You raised whether North Korea is a nuclear state. I think so. Beijing has already hastily accepted this new reality by dropping the nuclearization from Beijing's official statements. This event celebrates the capitulation of the international community, and especially China, to North Korea's permanent status as a nuclear power. History reminds us that we, as a collective humanity, must be extremely careful at a time like this. This gathering is not just an isolated show or event. It's the culmination of a deliberate structural shift in geopolitics. For US and allied policymakers, including France, the strategy of waiting for this axis to collapse is no longer viable.
We'll see what happens. Song Hyun Lee, thank you so much for joining us on the program. Now, India's Prime Minister has welcomed news of a ceasefire between Hamas and Israel. Narendra Modi says it reflects the strong leadership of Israel's Prime Minister. In the past, India tied itself to the Palestinian cause, but under Modi's leadership, the tilt towards Israel has been markedly visible. Peter O'Brien reports.
India is both a historic ally to the Palestinian people and a major trading partner with Israel. A long story of compromises and contradictions. During the Cold War, India's reflex as a recently independent country was to oppose what it saw as Western imperialism. At the same time, it began to rely on Arab states for their oil, and in 1988 became one of the first countries to recognize Palestine as a state.
Blow for the neutralist of India.
Behind the scenes, however, India had already been quietly buying weapons from Israel. Their cooperation deepened with the fall of the Soviet Union and the ascendancy of the United States. Official diplomatic relations began, and tech and defense partnerships flourished. Narendra Modi made the first visit of an Indian Prime Minister to Israel in 2017, strolling the beach with Benjamin Netanyahu. Since the 90s, bilateral trade has grown from $200 million to $10 billion. The two countries are now exploring a free trade agreement.
It has always tried to ensure that it has walked several tightropes, right? Whether it is the Iran, Israel rivalry, whether it is the Saudi-Iran rivalry, whether it is the US-Russia rivalry, and so on, right? So it has never made any drastic changes in its foreign policy, except maybe in the 1990s when the USSR fell and the US came to power specifically, right? But apart from that, it has always been very careful, and it has made only tiny incremental shifts in the way that it has moved from one position to another.
Hardline Hindu nationalists have seized upon the conflict, framing it as reflective of a perceived struggle against India's Muslim minority. And while India positions itself as a leader of the global south, a bloc which tends to favour the Palestinian cause, its positions at the UN have sometimes favoured Israel, sometimes Palestine. An indication that India continues to pursue ties with all the prominent countries of the Middle East, a strategy that so far has paid off.
Over in Pakistan, misinformation has plagued a campaign to protect girls against cervical cancer, with parents slamming their doors on healthcare workers. The HPV vaccine drive had hoped to inoculate 11 million girls, but the government fell short of its target. Charlotte Lamb takes a look at what hurdles were encountered.
In Karachi, health workers are doing more than just delivering vaccines. They're trying to change minds. Door to door, they're convincing parents to allow their daughters to receive the HPV vaccine for protection against the virus that causes cervical cancer. But many families are hesitant after weeks of misinformation swept through communities.
I've heard this needle is being used to make women infertile and reduce the population of Muslims. Social media is full of these claims. I'm getting information from everywhere that this vaccine is harmful and shouldn't be used.
The Pakistani government has set out a goal to vaccinate 18 million girls over the next 2 years. The first campaign targeted 11 million, but just 9 million got the jab. These girls happily rolled up their sleeves.
Today we received the HPV vaccination and none of us has experienced any side effects, unlike the rumours that have been spreading online.
In 95% of cases, cervical cancer is caused by persistent infection with human papilloma virus, a virus that spreads through sexual activity and affects almost everyone in their lifetime. The HPV vaccine, approved by the World Health Organization, has a long history of saving lives in more than 150 countries. But there's been a long-standing conspiracy theory in Pakistan that Western-produced vaccines are used to curb the Muslim population.
I would say it actually protects the fertility. The vaccine is protecting against cervical cancer. If she's losing cervix because of cervical cancer, how is she going to deliver a baby or conceive a baby?
For now, a painted purple fingernail marks those who've been vaccinated. A simple idea health workers hope will catch on.
That's it for this edition of Access Asia. From all of us on the team, thank you very much for watching.